in log transform mercury concentrations compared to the reference year 1989. Cadmium concentrations range from 0 to 0.028, with a similar decrease trends over the year. Significant observed between 2003 and 1989, 2017 and 1989. About lead concentrations range from 0.107 to 1.398. There has been decreases over the year, with significant are only observed between the year 2017 and 1989. And about vanadium, vanadium concentrations range as shown on the screen, and there was no significant changes in the concentrations over the observed years. The finding is consistent with a number of previous studies in Hudson River, such as the decrease in mercury in striped bass and 4 other species in the Hudson River in a research from 1970 to 2005. And there was a decrease in average cadmium in blue crab in Copering, Hudson River in 2005, even though the concentrations still high, but it was lower than previous conditions. And the observed declines in this study and in the others suggest a decrease in the exposure of striped bass to harmful concentrations. The input must have been reduced compared to before to make the concentration accumulated in the fish scales lessen over years. And to summarize, this study utilized the archive HRBMP striped bass scale collections and uses scale heavy metal concentrations to reflect Hudson River water quality. The results show that the heavy metal concentrations over the years 1989, 2003, and 2017 are mostly significantly different, with lower heavy metal concentrations in the later years, and that suggests a positive trend in the Hudson River health, reducing the pollution burden on striped bass and potentially other species. Ongoing research and monitoring efforts remain crucial in understanding the ecosystem health and continuous management. Thank you for listening.
We do have time for questions.
I was curious what the connection or the relationship between scale concentrations and tissue concentrations are. Have you ever compared like a fish versus dorsal muscle tissue versus the scale to understand what kind of risk or impact that would cause to something that somebody that consumes a fish? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. When I was doing literature research for this, I found out that there are many structures of the fish we can use to do the heavy metal analysis and have it as a reflections to the qualities. I mean, the results from other previous studies are pretty similar between scales and other part of the fish. So there were some other studies like that. Yes.
Thanks for a nice talk. And I wondered, could you tell me the method, the instrument, and how you used it? Was it an ICP mass spectrometer?
Yeah, actually, well, our lab didn't do the analysis ourselves. We sent it to a lab in Dartmouth College. So they did the analysis for us. And the details on that, I have to talk to them about that. So.
Yeah. What was the college?
Dartmouth.
Oh,
Dartmouth College,
okay.
yes.
You talked about microplastics, and we know that microplastics are being incorporated into muscle tissue. Could they also be a way to adhere to these heavy metals and then facilitate entry into the tissue?
I mean, yeah, we do look at the microplastic in Hudson River fish, and there is a chance that microplastic can absorb like pollutants and others heavy metals and get it into the fish. But we have not looked at the connections between microplastic and heavy metals. But something we could do with our samples. I'll look into that.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
that would be kind of interesting because Lamont Doherty did a study that showed that the microplastics are being incorporated into muscle tissue. So if they're adhering to these heavy metals or other pollutants, that might be interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Wonderful presentation. Striped bass cover quite a bit of ground in their lives geographically. Do you have access to scale samples of other species that are more residential of the estuary or even like fairly local within reaches so that you could start to look at whether or not this cadmium and lead and mercury is being picked up in the Hudson or potentially being picked up somewhere else during the striped bass's journey? Are there other species scales that could get at a spatial resolution?
In our collections, we only have access to striped bass scales,
Okay.
but these striped bass scales were collected in batteries regions, so it's a lower Hudson River estuary.
Sure.
And I've been reading about the striped bass contingents theories, and there are at least 3 contingents are existing in the Hudson rivers, and there's a high chance that these striped bass scales collected in the battery rivers during winter times, they're most likely to belong to the lower river striped bass contingents, which is the one that resides in the rivers.
Okay.
Tell us the age ranges of the striped bass.
I cannot, because we did not do that. The striped bass scale were partially aged, but were by the previous scientists in the program.
Is there a way to analyze striped bass scales for methyl mercury?
I'm not an expert in heavy metal analysis, like the actual analysis, but I think that it could be raised. Yeah.
Do you think there's a concern, there's plans to jet plow 118 miles of Hudson River through these sediments to bury cables, and then potentially another cable on top of that? Are we going to recontaminate the fish?
I cannot say that for sure, but there is a chance when we disturb the sediments and the heavy metals are in the sediments could be released to the water column.
All right, thank you very much.
Good question.
It's obvious.
We found something fixed right.
Just how best it was rigged.
What's that?
Just how best it was rigged. Jess?
Well, it was great because the guy who was the grand prize is sitting right over there. We worked for the